All right, let's move on to this week's games here in Week 5. And the big one to circle is obviously Homestead at Belmont. You've got two undefeated teams, 4-0 going in. High-octane offenses, but you mentioned before, Homestead's really going to have to take advantage of each possession in this game.
They are, and that beep, beep, beep you hear is me reversing course and changing my NHC Conference Champion pick.
Really?
Yes, I picked Homestead at the beginning of the year, but because there were so many questions about Belmont. They had new coaches, they had graduated a lot of kids, a lot of people didn't know what to expect from them. But now that we've seen them play for 4 weeks, everybody knows what to expect from Belmont. They're dynamite. What Homestead has to do, like I said, is score on every possession that they have, which is going to be few and far between. But the Belmont defense, with Connor Emmenheiser in the middle, he's a maniac. And they just shut people down, and then they get the ball back, and they run off 7-8 minutes just working their way down the field, and they score on a rushing touchdown. They have 3 guys that can go for 150 yards on you, and they're just almost unstoppable.
That's my next question, is how do you stop them? Because Homestead, as long as I've covered them, they've always kind of had the knock of not being as tough-nosed on defense, not being able to stop the run, and we've seen that, I guess, play itself out in the playoffs when they play the Snyders and those SAC teams. How do you go about stopping such a potent offense, especially one that thrives on the run and blocks so well?
Well, Belmont only wants to pass if the IHSA mandates that you have to throw X amount of passes each game. Other than that, they're never going to pass. So you're going to have to load people up in the box and stop that running game. But they counter and they use misdirection so much. Guys are chasing guys all over the place, and it's hard to stop. But they have to figure out a way to get a lot of bodies up front and stop that Belmont rushing attack and force Forrest Fullenkamp to pass the ball some. And if they can do that, that's not what Belmont wants to do. They'll be uncomfortable, and maybe they can get a turnover or a 3-and-out.
You like Belmont in this one, then?
Absolutely. I like Belmont to win this game, and they'll be conference champions.
All right. This was very much, the way things have been played out so far, this could very well decide it right here in Week 5. Now, moving on, Wayne at Lures, that's an interesting game, as well as Dwenger against Harding. If you're Dwenger, are you really concerned about Rod Smith? Because you know they had 7 turnovers in the game before, and they know Rod can get his, and you can still win against Harding if you have the type of talent that Dwenger has.
Well, I think Dwenger is going to kind of use this as not really a practice, but a way to work on stopping a potent runner. And they're going to face the state's best this week. And what they can do is work on some things technique-wise and strategy-wise this week that will pay dividends as they advance in the state tournament and face other runners that are maybe not quite the caliber of Rod Smith, because I don't think anybody is, but other great runners. So I think that they're really looking at this as kind of an exhibition as to what kind of strategy will work, what kind of technique, how hard we can play, that sort of thing. Dwenger is going to win this game, but I think the challenge for Dwenger is let's see how many yards we can hold Rod Smith to, and then that'll pay dividends down the road.
I want to talk about the Wayne Lures game, because Lures is kind of now back in it, feeling good, and Wayne is kind of a team that's kind of snuck under the radar as far as record-wise, 3-1 at this point. Coach Getz has seemed to turn the mentality around. You remember they went to the sectional championship game last year, so they're kind of feeding off that. If Wayne can pull this off, how good are they feeling at 4-1?
Oh, they're feeling great. This is a building program, and Coach Getz has done a fantastic job down there getting them to this point. And like I said earlier, they're in that clump of really competitive second-tier teams in the SAC. And there's nothing to be embarrassed about that, because once you get into the sectional, you're going to play teams from outside the SAC that are not nearly as good, and you're going to be able to dominate. I watched Southside do that to Huntington North last year. So Wayne is feeling extremely good about how this season is unfolding. And I really thought Northside was going to give them a better game last week, but Wayne just shut them down, obviously held them scoreless. And so Wayne's playing exceptional football this year.
Who do you like between Lures and Wayne? And obviously Dwenger over Harding in your
Obviously Dwenger over Harding, but I tell you what, I hate to pick against Wayne, because whenever you think, okay, this is the week where they stumble, they still find a way to get it done. It's going to be extremely close. It's going to be a tough, hard-nosed Southside battle, but Wayne is going to prevail. All
right, there you go. That's Tom Davis from the News Sentinel. I'm Glenn Marini, and thanks for watching Inside the Zone on Wayne.com.